Hello everybody, welcome to my kitchen. It is Monday morning here, the day after competing in Houston. I'm very tired still. Well, not still, I think it's very logical to be tired one day later. But today I want to give you guys a little race recap, some insights. It's not like I'm doing anything special, but I want to show you kind of the things that we're going to do today for our rest and recovery day post-race. Just a few little things. Right now I'm about to make some breakfast, so I'll take you along, making a very special recipe today. Not that special. It's like, I don't even know if it has a name. Well, I'm making buckwheat, but I prepared in such a way. This is not my recipe. It was given to Cinta and I by Robert Farkin. We always used to make like overnight oats, but just to change it up, we started making like overnight buckwheat. So we'll make a big batch and then it'll last like 3 or 4 days and we'll do it again. I'll show you, but that's not really the important thing. The more important thing is the race. So yeah, I ran 60:58. If you round down, 60 minutes. I'm not going to round down, but I'm just saying, if you do round down, I ran 60 minutes. I'm probably just going to tell people that I ran 61. That sounds a lot easier. Or just under 61. That's how I'm going to say it probably. Just under 61. And honestly, 24 hours later, it was a good result. It was good. Not great, but it was good. I think it's a very good first step into the longer road racing scene, which, oh my God, crazy. You guys are, the thing is, I imagine that like a lot of people that watch my videos run half marathons and marathons. What a fucking experience you guys have every time you race. It's wild. Like, seriously. I loved it. I also, I'm not going to say I didn't love parts of it. I mean, okay, I will say it. I didn't love parts of it. But overall, amazing, amazing experience. And I definitely will be doing it again in the future. Maybe not the near future, but in the future. But I do want to give a kind of like a bit more of a specific recap of the race and everything that went down at Houston, because it's kind of crazy. Like, even Dathan, so Dathan, my coach, he was there, and I had to explain literally like everything that happened. Like, where do I start? So our expectations were quite high going into this one, and I think a lot of that came from obviously Joe. He was really targeting this race, and you know, there's the whole American record storyline, and then I'd been training with him, so I was like, well, if he's going for this shape and I'm doing all these steps in training with him, then I must be in pretty good shape as well. Obviously not that simple, but that's kind of how it works, right? But we get to race day, and it was very different. It played out very differently to I don't know how we wrote it up, which is always how racing really goes. It never goes how you write it up. But I feel like that was difficult, because by putting a lot of expectation on ourselves, it meant that you could formulate a race plan or go into a race with a mentality that's much more like low risk in terms of like you can work into it and you give yourself a lot more room for error. Whereas this approach to the race very much so didn't leave like room for error, right? Because it was like, all right, first one, we want to go knock it out of the park. And I'm like slightly speaking on behalf of Joe when I say that, but at the same time, I was also similarly, like I didn't have quite the high expectations, but I got pretty excited for this race. I got really excited for this race. I really did. And so I would say I got a little bit caught up in kind of those expectations and all that. And for better or for worse, I went into the race with some very high goals in the end. Like I didn't, well, okay, if you had asked me before the race, I really wanted to be able to compete with the leaders. That was my goal. And that never happened. I was never like close to competing with them. So that was kind of what was really disappointing to me after the race. I was like, wow, I just got my fucking butt kicked. And it's like, I didn't even try to compete with them. But it was really hard, I guess. It was just like the way it played out. All right, let me backtrack. I'm going to take a step back and we'll loop back around to that because I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. First, Houston Marathon, Houston Half, it's amazing. I would definitely recommend it for everyone. It's just a great setup. Houston's kind of like a weird city where the downtown area is like not that busy. So they're kind of able to like take over the whole thing for this race. And especially for us, we were staying in a hotel. I already kind of did this wrong. Normally I boil the coconut milk first before I put this in. Oh well, it'll taste the same, I'm sure. But yeah, pretty much the city is very relaxed and it makes it really easy to pull off a race like this. Oh my god, I don't have any coconut milk. Well, it looks like we're just making it with regular milk. So it was a great setup. The hotel, everything was all like the hotel was like 5 meters away from the finish line. Like it was amazing. It was so cool. I loved it. And going into it, days leading in, we got there on Thursday with the race on Sunday. Friday, we did a double day, like a 5 mile, 3 mile double. I like to keep like some semblance of routine, even if the volumes dropped a lot. I like doubling just to keep the body moving, so you keep doing stuff. But these days we're a little bit busy, so maybe it wasn't necessary. But running on the roads, like things felt good. Day before the race, we just did kind of like, I did about 4 miles and then I did some strides and then a little jog. And I was feeling amazing the day before the race. Like I was like, holy shit, like if I feel like this on race day, this is going to be awesome. And then race day. So for those who don't know, a lot of these road races start at ungodly hours of the morning. This race started at 6:45 a.m. and it was also in a time zone that was 1 hour ahead. So kind of like 5:45 in the morning for us. And so when you race at that time in the morning, you do have to wake up quite early. So I was up I didn't plan on waking up till 4 a.m., which was kind of on the later side. But I actually woke up at 2 a.m. and stayed awake all morning because I was so excited. Or just like, you know, feeling already kind of like that adrenaline or whatever. And I was okay with that. Like I actually felt fine doing that. And that was cool. But the whole morning, I think it is something you kind of probably get used to by doing a few of these races. But you're like bleary-eyed. It's just such a weird experience doing all this stuff so early in the morning. But yeah, you have a bunch of caffeine. Like I had a coffee right when I woke up, and I had 2 coffees actually, and like I took caffeine gel. So like I had the adrenaline. So like I was like feeling very awake. I was feeling good in terms of that stuff. But still, it was a kind of new thing to have to do all this stuff at this ungodly hour in the morning. And also the thing with this one is that it was quite cold. So that was another factor. Like the early morning, the cold and the wind. It was just like, geez, what did we get ourselves into? But we're very excited, lined up on the start line, warmed up. When I warmed up, yeah, like my legs did not feel like they really warmed up. That was kind of the part where I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel today. But I try not to ever buy into that too much, and I don't think that's like ever that important. So that's not an excuse. It's just like how I felt. Like I was so confident with feeling so good the day before, and then on the start line, those doubts kind of creep in a little bit when you don't feel amazing, which is very normal, I think. But so the gun went off, and as I said, I didn't really know how I was gonna feel, but I wanted to be with like the lead pack, and I thought we were gonna have a big pack altogether, but it was like, because I think the first few miles there was a little bit of wind, and it was maybe a bit uphill at certain points. This was like the flattest course ever. So when I say a hill, it's like not a real hill. Like it feels mostly downhill. But I think the first couple miles, it just felt like hard to get up to the leaders and get comfortable there like I would have wanted to. Which I don't think you're meant to feel comfortable at the start of a half marathon. I think you're meant to feel quite uncomfortable, which I did feel. But yeah, so I was always back a bit. And the way the race played out was there was the pacemaker in a small pack with Conor Manson, some of the other athletes ended up finishing the top 4, like a very small pack. They were really cooking. And then there was a second pack that formed. And then I was kind of like off the back of that. And I was keying off like kind of Joe and Morgan Pearson a little bit, just because I've been training with them and stuff. And looking back on it, I really wish that I'd just been able to say fuck it and go with that second pack, or like the first pack, but like at least the second pack. Because what ended up happening was we went through 5K, probably only 5 seconds behind them, or maybe 10 seconds behind them, like somewhere in that range. So like the range where you can see them just there, but like they're getting away from you. They're running just slightly faster. And I ran really good 5K through 5K, and then I was with Joe still, and then I picked up a bit and caught Morgan Pearson, who was running with Clayton Young and one of the Ethiopians at that point, who they had kind of dropped off the second pack. I caught them right after 5K, and I was really strong through 10K. I went through in, I think it was 28:30, which I thought I was going to go through faster than that, but that's still a very good pace to go through, like super good. But the issue was, it was just, at that point, it was only a pack of 3 of us. And we stayed the pack of 3 of us for so long. And on that back half is when the race is going to get more and more difficult. And also at about 8 miles was when you hit the hardest stretch in terms of headwind. And just being the pack of 3 of us, it just got really brutal. It felt like very long, and it was hard because you would lead the pack and you'd be running into the wind, and you'd just be like, I can't sustain this. Like if I try to run this much of the race into the wind, I'm just going to gas myself and I'm not going to, get anything back from it. And then I would go and sit back in, and then it would feel like almost too easy, So it was really hard it didn't feel like we were running, like we were able to run the effort that we would have wanted to through that part of the race. And that's when we clocked in some like pretty slow splits compared to our average, and we really slowed down a bit. And it wasn't until probably about 18K. So I had over 10K being in this pack of 3 with this just the 3 of us working together. It wasn't until 18K that the pack behind us caught us. And they had gone out much more conservatively, more around even 61 pace, maybe even a bit slower. And so they were rolling at this point because they had momentum. So when they caught us, it was really nice because we sped up with them. But it was a tough feeling because you just feel like you're moving backwards, and these guys are just rolling through. But it was so good that they caught us, because otherwise we would have slowed down probably even more. And so then from that last couple, it was before 18K actually that they caught us, because we ran with them for probably 4 or 5K, if I remember correctly. And running with them through that part was really good, and then it was like a big finish the last mile. I beat some of them, but like a lot of them beat me. I think they had just run it a lot smarter than I had, and they were feeling a lot better at that point in the race. So that's kind of how it played out. I finished, and I was very tired, but I was also a bit frustrated that I felt like I hadn't raced in a way to get the most out of myself. Even though, I was very tired, but I was like, I could have done that better. And so looking back on it, it was I was like, if I had gone out with that slower pack, I think the race would have felt way better, and I would have felt like really controlled. and I would have been able to close really strong. But then I think I would have been like, well, I think I went up too slow. Like I would have had that thought. So if I could go back and do it again, or I guess this is the lesson that I'm taking forwards, is to just really kind of send it a lot more and take that risk initially and go over that pace, so that I could have been with that pack that's running, the pace that I want to run. And I think when you run with a strong group like that, I think like you can suffer a lot in that start of the race, and you can find your rhythm and you can feel good. I mean, everything that I've been told, and after doing it, it's like, yeah, the half marathon is about like finding that rhythm of like, it's a lot of pain and suffering, but you can hold it for that distance. And I just felt like I wasn't able to feel that, just because in our pack we were doing so much like, not like a fartlek, but so much like lead a little bit, go to the pack, try and serve, like rather than just being in a nice rhythm. And so I crossed the line, 13th place, which not bad, but yeah, further back than I would have liked to be. Just sneaking under 61, 60 flat if you round down. And no, I'm not. That's a joke. My mom said that to me to try and make me feel better after. That is a joke. I'm not going to tell anyone that except for you guys. But Joe crossed right after me, and we were very disappointed because in our heads we had built it up like we'd be able to just like turn up and do a half marathon and run a lot quicker and compete a lot more in the race, which we just didn't. So that was disappointing. And yeah, it really made me just think a lot about like expectations. And that's kind of what I meant by like the expectations that we set up for ourselves were, you either have like the best fucking debut half marathon of all time, like not literally, but something crazy, or you're disappointed. And we didn't have the best debuts of all time, and so we were disappointed. And so I'm still processing, like I don't know how I do it different. I think I would just focus on other things apart from these more external factors, I guess, that are out of my control when it comes to setting up those expectations. I think that's kind of what I would do differently next time, because after the initial disappointment and talking it through with Dathan a lot, he was really good because he was able to give good perspective. And just like for me especially, it's like now I'm going into racing track races now, like that's going to be my goal. And so he's just like, well, look at where you are in January. It's like, this is such a good place to be with the whole track season ahead. You're the strongest you've ever been. You're so fit. If you hadn't raced this half and had all these expectations, you'd be looking at it like, wow, I'm the fittest I've ever been. I'm going to go and really go attack all these track races, and you'd feel really confident about that. So that's how I'm trying to feel now. Yeah, it still, I guess, takes a bit of time to process it all, but yeah, I'm not really disappointed. And then I had so many lovely messages from everyone, or a lot of people online and stuff, like congratulating me. And I was like, yeah, stop being a freaking idiot. Stop being so silly. Cinto is always really good for this stuff. It's like, no, that's a pretty good debut. Like, it's not bad. So yeah, I do feel good now. And mentally I feel good. Physically, I couldn't really sleep that well last night, even though I hadn't got like any sleep, or I was so tired from the day. My body was just like, I went to sleep fine, but then I just woke up super early because my body was a bit sore and like just, the body is tired, and I think it's like harder to sleep when your body's feeling tired like that after the big race. So these next few days we'll be taking it really easy, and the next whole week we take it pretty easy, honestly, to let the body really recover from this one before we kind of get back into it. Today the plan is to have this nice chill morning. I'll go get treatment in the early afternoon, just like a flush out, maybe some specific treatment. Why do I keep knocking these? Maybe some specific treatment for my back, just to make sure that's feeling okay. Oh yeah, the back felt great. The way my body moved, that's a weird way of saying it, but like I felt great running on the roads. Like I really felt great. I feel like I was moving very well. I felt very strong. So like that was all really cool and very encouraging. But the back pulled up really good. Maybe just like a little bit sore after the flight, but honestly, like not that bad. So it'll be all good. So I'll get a little bit of treatment today, flush out, and I do like, we have like a specific kind of lift that we've been given to help the body recover from this one. So I think I'll try maybe get some clips of that and cut it in or something, or just share with you guys. Just spin the legs a little, but it is like a rest day. I think if I had easy access to a pool, I would go in a pool for a little bit and do some aqua jogging, or even just like sit in the hot tub. I didn't warm down at all. I just went straight up to the. I was like, this is when I was like still a bit more disappointed. I just went straight up to the hot tub and just sat in there for like half an hour after the race, and it was like 8 a.m. in the morning. What? It's just these. They're such a weird experience. These road races. I can't believe. Like it's just such. It's a different world to track. It really is, and I think all that stuff you benefit from. Yeah, the experience of having done it before. So, but yeah, it's just like crazy. But yeah, so much fun. Like I do 100% get it now. Why it's so cool. But yeah, maybe I'll sauna today because we have that here. But yeah, apart from that, easy rest day, and then tomorrow, I think probably just an easy run, 5 miles, and we just try catch up on sleep, recovery, and then just slowly get back into the training. And yeah, I'm going to give myself a week where like mentally my focus is just recovery, maybe even 2 weeks where it's still like more like that, and then we start getting excited to get back into some track races. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Half marathon done, road's done for now. Yeah, hope you guys, I don't know, let me know if this is kind of like a weird different style of video, like a recap, but let me know if you guys enjoyed this little mini series of kind of like the lead up to the race. I'm just trying to post a lot of stuff, and then I want to try get in the routine of posting and sharing this stuff, because I do love posting, but it's just been hard for me to like do it in a sustainable way previously. So I kind of want to get in the routine and then start to try and make it better in all the different ways. So right now it's like the most basic form, but if you guys like it, that's awesome, because I like doing it a lot and I'm going to keep doing it. But let me know how specifically if you like kind of like the mini half marathon series, because I think, yeah, I'll be trying to share similar things for all the races that I do now. Kind of like the build-ups or the specific stuff that we do for them. So yeah, and thanks for all the support in this build-up as well, because it was a bit scary. I was very nervous, excited, going into uncharted territory, but it was lovely to have all the support from you guys through the last few weeks since I started posting the videos, especially with the back and all that. So yeah, that's it from me for today. See you guys again soon.